Howdy, welcome back to the channel. This is Matthew Pisgotti checking in from DFW, Dallas area here in Texas, talking to you a little bit more about the Piggy Bank. If you haven't watched any of my other previous videos on the Piggy Bank, that is okay, as long as you are at least slightly familiar with crypto, degen type projects in general. You're looking to make a little extra bank. Degen type projects, protocols, miners, games, investments, whatever you want to call these types of systems, these protocols in the crypto space. The Animal Farm, the Piggy Bank, DRIP, Faucet, the DRIP community. This is all part of one ecosystem from developer Forex Shark and his partners. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't been following the progress of some of those other projects, DRIP Faucet has run for over a year. It hit its year anniversary. Made some millionaires. It's definitely made some very rich people. I didn't get in on the ground floor of that. Good news on that front, however, it's dipping really low in price. So because people are moving funds, especially over towards the Animal Farm, to this Piggy Bank launch especially. So there's a lot of potential there. But back to Piggy Bank. What's exciting about that? I want to check in because and show this as a reminder that there's this 20% bonus going on. We're going to talk about the bonuses that already exist, but there's this 20% bonus if you throw new money at this new capital within the first 48 hours of launch. It just launched today, so you have about 30 hours still. If you invest into it sometime today, this is the 13th of May. You should still get that extra 20% bonus. If you miss that and you're listening to this later on, that's still exciting, of course, because the bonuses that are there still look pretty lucrative. It's still a pretty exciting project. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that and why that is. But what is the Piggy Bank to start with? So I already mentioned it's part of the Animal Farm ecosystem, which is technically part of the whole DRIP ecosystem, DRIP network. They really all connect. If you are not familiar with DRIP Faucet at all, the DRIP community, that's just drip.community/faucet. That's really a good base. That's a good safer play, I should say. None of this is safe, right? And I should mention while I'm saying that I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you what to do with your funds. I'm telling you and kind of showing you, demonstrating what I'm doing, documenting my journey along the way. But none of these projects in the crypto space, I mean, hell, even Bitcoin's not safe, right? We've seen crashes across crypto today, especially, and those of us who like the systems, have faith in the coins, think they're going to come back up. That's my prediction, especially with the big boys like Bitcoin. Countries are adopting that as official currencies and such, but the whole market's down right now, so we have to take that into consideration. These types of plays, these crypto games or miners, whatever you want to call them, these time lock stakes, they're all gambles. They're all risky, of course, because as I'll explain even further in a moment, probably they're based on sentiment. They're based on, hey, are people excited about this project? Not only that, are there use cases? We're going to talk about those a little bit further too, as to why this is an exciting project because of the use cases it has. So Piggy Bank is part of the Animal Farm network. Now, some of the Animal Farm is paused. They had to redo some portions of. There's a dogs token. We're waiting on a version 2 to be kind of revamped. So there's going to be a version 2 of dogs. Dogs will be unpaused shortly. And there's a number of other farms that are going to be unpaused as well, that you'll get to play around in later if you just decide to jump into any of this. This is an example of the farms. They're paused right now. They'll be brought over to this new website. They're being transferred over there. That's all in the works behind the scenes. So there's a lot of ways to invest in this ecosystem. But if we're just talking about Piggy Bank is a time lock stake type of mechanism built in. So what happens is you create an LP token, a liquidity pool token. If you're familiar with adding liquidity on PancakeSwap, if not, the video right before this, I explained how to do that for Pigs BUSD, how to create that. And that's essentially just a paired token, half Pigs, half BUSD. Gives it a little more stability with the BUSD being half of it. And it just adds liquidity to these tokens, to Pigs, to the ecosystem here. So when we do that, when we add that liquidity, we can get rewarded. And if we decide to lock up our liquidity pool token, our LP tokens here, if we lock those into the piggy bank for a certain amount of time, we get a bonus. But before we even talk about that, the mechanisms built into the piggy bank, say if you were to deposit them, if you were to deposit 3 of these LP tokens, and you decided to not put any time lock on them, you just bought them, they would end up in a stake like this, where there's no time lock. Your LP tokens get converted into piglets. Piglets represent the value. So however much at that time when you're buying in, whatever that translates into what they're calling piglets, you're going to see a piglets number here, and then truffles are going to slowly accumulate. And if you want to, understand the cute theming there, it's because piglets are finding truffles, and then your piglets, depending on how many you have, they're gonna find more and more truffles, and you can come in here every day if you want to and compound. So when you click compound, this one's not ready. I think I already did it recently. When you click compound, it's going to take all these truffles that can be compounded and put those into piglets. Now, they don't have to be whole piglets. The developer did fix that from the version 1 the first time around. This version 2, he's fixed it where you can fractionally compound, which is kind of a scary concept, of course. Fractional piglets sounds like something out of a horror film. But you can compound whatever truffles you have into the relevant amount of piglets. Good to remember that piglets and truffles are, neither one of those are an actual like token, a coin. They're not. They don't have a coin address. They're just representing value within this system. We're really working off of Pigs BUSD LP, but that translates into a certain amount of piglets, which helps us find truffles. And the truffles we can feed our piglets to make more piglets. So that's how this system works. Now, within that mechanism, you can see down here in the features, and there's a lot more in the documentation as well, but you can get up to 3% ROI a day on your principal. So the original LP that you put in there, you're getting up to 3% of that principal back per day, up to 3%. Now, the mechanisms built in here, what actually happens is these are similar to the DRIP Garden mechanisms where, as far as Forex Shark has explained it, that's very similar to the Drip Garden mechanisms where certain levers kind of control how much you could earn a day, how much percentage you could earn. You can earn it, saying you can earn up to 3% a day off your principal, but that relates to certain things. So, for instance, if you are selling every single day and just harvesting every single day, chopping those truffles up to eat for yourself instead of making more piglets, if you're doing that every single day, then the return is going to go down. So there's a kind of a ratio there, and if it works like the drip garden, which I think each of these little stakes does work similar to the drip garden mechanism, if your ratio of compounding to harvesting, if you're just constantly harvesting or selling truffles at the market, or however you want to phrase it, your return daily is going to go down. So to maximize that, we want to compound as much as possible. We want to compound as often as we can. And there are gas fees in doing that, so you have to weigh that, do your own research, kind of calculate it out. But yeah, so you want to compound as much as possible to keep that as close to the 3% ROI a day. And then obviously there's some type of ratio. It is meant to make you money. So there is some ratio there, maybe once a day. I apologize. Once a week, perhaps, you're harvesting. Maybe 2 days out of the week you're harvesting and the rest you're compounding. So there's a lot of ways to play that. But you can have up to this 3% a day. Now here's the part that makes it better than the garden. Well, there's a couple features. One is that we can have multiple stakes, multiple little pig pins, I would say. I hate to use the word pig pen because pig pen is actually part of this ecosystem as well. There is a pig pen. So you can have little different piggy banks where your piglets are locked up and they have this truffle kind of exchange going on. You can have multiple ones, and so if you're doing a time lock, you could do like a ladder system like I've done here where one's maturing in 6 days, 27 days, 55 days, and so on. And then you may have one that's just freed up that works kind of like the garden where you could just every day, sell, deposit, compound, whatever. So now the really cool part is that we get this bonus. You can see the time is changing here. Let me blow this up a little bit further on the screen. So I'm getting a 6% time lock bonus added to my principal if I lock it up for 2 weeks. So that means I'm promising, I'm locking myself in that I'm not going to sell or quote unquote harvest or eat my piglets or truffles or whatever. I'm not going to do that for 2 weeks. And you see I get a 6% bonus. If I pump this out to say 40 weeks, you can see the very large amount of bonus here, and that's really fantastic. You know, if we agree to wait that long, then we're going to gain that huge bonus across time to our principal, which are going to be creating so many more truffles than they would have been by the end of that time lock stake, rather than if you had just toss some in here. Forex Shark says it himself. He likes to transfer wealth from weak hands to strong hands. He likes to reward the long-term players, people who are going to stay in the ecosystem, keep that longevity up, keep the ecosystem healthy and running, and doing these longer-term time locks really does that. You know, that helps that. You might want to do some shorter time locks or keep some open, of course, because then you could have that free to sell to put back into the farms, or take, convert back in to eventually loop back around to put in the drip faucet, which we know is a safer play overall. All sorts of things. But, on top of whatever this bonus is here, 23%, if I lock up 8 weeks, you're going to get another 20% added in there if you just do the, if you throw money at if you can throw money at this, if you invest capital into it within these next 30 hours or so, like I was saying. If you invest sometimes today on the 13th, you'll get that extra bonus added in. So that's pretty neat. And something you may not understand about the piggy bank as well, which is exciting, is that, as it's stating here, these bonuses are not just tacked onto your claimable dividends at the end of the stake. So it's not like you get these rewards at the very end, and then those bonuses are just kind of tacked on to whatever rewards you earned. This is actually adding a bonus to your principal amount. So 30% of that bonus up above, I see that Forex has misspelled bonus here, someone should let him know. 30% of that bonus is added within the first 75% of the timeline of the stake. So you can see in the first 75%, that's 30% of the bonus has been added. And then the rest of that bonus, the rest, the 70% that's left of the bonus, gets slapped on in the last 25% of the lockup. And so it just, exponentially, especially right there at the end, it gets added into your principal, which means your principal is earning even more. It's outputting even more truffles as a bonus. That's where you're going to see that bonus, is there's going to be more truffles than if you had just deposited a stake without a time lock. You're going to see so much more truffles being created there that you can compound. And so that's just kind of the power of compound interest. It's just going to stack and stack. The only catch there is you can't sell them off until your time lock is over. So that's what you're trading for that amazing bonus. And again, if you get in today, you're going to have that 20%. And if you are interested in this, again, remember, I can't tell you what to do. You need to read the documentation here on the left. It's pretty thorough. Decide if the piggy bank sounds exciting. I've got my referral link in the description. If you like this content, if you find it helpful, jump through from my link. And if you need help trying to create the LP tokens to get those added in after you follow that referral link I sent there, just watch the most recent video before this, the live video that I posted. Let me find it here. Where's that at? If you go to my channel, you should be able to see it. Yeah, so you go to channel, videos. This one right here. Yeah, how to invest in piggy bank, add LP, getting started, that sort of thing. If you hop right there, that'll help you walk through that process of how to actually create the LP and invest if you decide to do that. Again, these are games. They're miners or investments, whatever you want to call them. But just like any investment, it's a gamble. Crypto is definitely always higher risk, right? So you can see I'm throwing stuff in here. I've only thrown in maybe 180 today. You could always put in more if you had more confidence in it or really liked where this was going. I do actually, everyone throws in what they can. I mentioned I was going to touch on that at the end of this video. So let me make sure. I think I've covered everything with the piggy bank. The main concept though is just that there's a time lock bonus that gets just exponentially more impressive the longer that you decide to time lock, and it can go pretty high. You can also gift these to another recipient's address if you had friends or family and you wanted to gift them, or if you get referrals, like I could gift some of my referrals down here if I start making quite a bit and I'm feeling generous, which I would if I was making a good bit in here. If it turns out to be incredibly lucrative, I can come in here, copy their address, and I can gift them stakes, which in turn helps the protocol because helps the whole little smart contract game here because I can time lock as long as I want. That helps them because when it matures, it's going to be this amazing time locked, bonused up stake, and I can be generous and pass out extra gifts. So that's a really neat mechanism built in. If you have friends or family that you want to gift some to, maybe they're just getting started in the world of this DJ and crypto, what have you, and or maybe you have a kid and you want to just lock it up for 156 weeks and see where that's at the end of that long time period. All types of things you could use that for. So that's a pretty cool feature. But yeah, so what are we looking at here as far as ROI? We know we're looking at up to 3% a day on our value, but of course that is on the value of the LP token. So and we've seen this with the garden that during the amount of time that you're locked up, the values are going to fluctuate. The value of pigs, which it looks like it's at 202 here on the left right now, $202. That's going to fluctuate as this becomes more popular, less popular, more popular. If people are making a lot of return on it, it's going to become more popular because everyone's going to pump it up, right? Right. So the value of pigs is going to drive a lot of not only the value you're seeing here, where it says truffles value, because this truffles value relates to how much value a single truffle has, which backs into the value of how many truffles make into a piglet, which backs into how many piglets can I buy for an LP, right? So all this is connected, and pigs is going to be one of the main factors, the value of pigs, that's going to make it look like you have more or have less value from your truffles. Now you remember that the price doesn't really matter. It's not going to matter. Piglets and truffles are not real coins. It doesn't matter. You're going to be selling truffles whenever you decide to sell, but that's not going to affect anything until you decide to sell. So if you play this long term, like most of us should be, like the drip garden or anything else, if pigs are doing really, really well when you decide to sell, and if the contract balance of how much people are throwing in here, how much they're locking in, if that is on the rise or at least staying steady, and if pigs are on the rise or at least staying steady, your value is going to increase and it's going to look really nice. Now, if when we have these downward trends, like I'll use the drip garden as an example right now, the drip garden right now, you wouldn't want to sell. It doesn't look like it is making any money, and it won't be until drip heads back upward, and that probably won't happen until Animal Farm is fully unpaused and settles out. So just use that as an example, but it doesn't matter because while all that's happening, my drip garden, I'm using the power of compound interest. So every day I compound, and one day I'm making 50 plants a day, and then one day I'm making 60 plants a day, and the next week I'm making 100 plants a day, and it just keeps snowballing. And that's what's going to happen here, is that I assume if it works similar to the drip garden, the value of a piglet is going to intentionally reduce over time. And if it works similar to the garden, which Forex keeps saying the mechanisms are similar, if it works similar to the garden, that's what's going to happen. The value of my piglet, a single piglet, is going to drop over time, but that increases buying power both if you want to buy in for a new stake in, say, 3 months, or your friend down the street wants to get in. The idea there is that they'll be able to buy an equivalent amount of piglets for the same amount. So if they were to put the same amount of LP in, they may get more piglets 3 months down the road than you would right now. But that would be okay because the value of piglets overall, like one piglet, would be less. So it just increases their buying power and helps them catch up quicker. To get back to get to a good spot with their truffles where they're making enough truffles to make enough pigs to then eventually make a profit. So there's a lot of logic. There's a lot of logic behind those mechanisms to increase the contract balance to keep more people bringing new money in, which helps us who are already in here, especially if we're getting in early. It helps us continue on earning, and then in turn it helps the next round be more successful so that they're also happy and the sentiment rises and they bring more people in. Remember, a lot of this is based on sentiment. Everything's sentiment. If we're happy and we're bullish about it and we think it's going to go up, then that's what will happen if we talk about it, if we promote it, if we get other people in here. But it's not just the made up sentiment. I mean, sentiment fluctuates day by day. When the piggy bank hadn't launched yet, constant FUD in the chats, people putting it down, putting Forex down, and then when it launches, you get a whole lot of positivity ramp back up. But I'll be the first to say that it's not just sentiment. I mean, a lot of the world is kind of run on the idea of sentiment. When you talk about a stock value for a company, that's what people are willing to pay for it. It doesn't mean that that stock is valued at that. Like, it doesn't mean that that piece of a company is really worth that amount. It has never meant that. It's just what people are willing to buy and sell and trade it at, and whatever they think it's valued at. Anything in your house that you paid for, or even if you had like a brick of gold, we always like to think of gold as being the standard. It's still not. It's just based on the value that we give it, that we grant it, right? So everything works like that in life. But back to, aside from my tangent and my rants regarding how the whole world economy is a Ponzi scheme and fake, when we get back to the piggy bank or animal farm or drip or any of these little ecosystems that we're talking about, it's not just sentiment. It is based on real utility and use cases as well, things that people are going to use that are going to interact in more than just one way. So Forex has already done that in one way by the faucet here. This is DRIP. People were already in this. I said it's already gone past a year. On the DRIP farms, he added the DRIP garden, and again, a lot of this is going to be moved to the new site sooner than later, we hope. So he's migrating a lot of that. But DRIP garden was part of the animal farm, but it's DRIP BUSD, right? It's an LP token, and when I harvest, that's what I'm getting out. I'm pulling out DRIP BUSD LP. So I'm interacting with DRIP even though I'm on another site. It's still part of the ecosystem there, essentially. So that's not strictly speaking a use case for DRIP, but when you connect two ecosystems like this, it really does add more utility for whatever LP we're talking about. And when I pull them out of the garden, that DRIP LP, or if I just go straight here, look here again. Here's a farm that is letting me stake DRIP BUSD, and I'm going to be rewarded with pigs. So now he's connected two separate tokens that had nothing to do with each other and has connected these two ecosystems. Now I can add this and receive pigs. And pigs are an integral part of all of the farms because I can then, of course, put them into the pig pen, which in theory, the idea behind the pig pen is that there's going to be these proposals. People can propose changes to this whole ecosystem, and depending on their earning, their stake, where you become owners of the platform here, like it says, where you're staking your pigs, it pays out high yield dividends in BUSD and pigs, and you can compound those pigs back into the system. So you can see already that DRIP and BUSD are connected, right? And DRIP already has this long history of functioning, of having this longevity and lasting. So you can see how the two ecosystems become connected and how that adds value to both of them. Once the farms really get up and kicking, they haven't really been around that long before they got paused because they had to change some things in the contract. That should all be resolved this time around. Here's hoping. And then we'll really see DRIP, I think, start to rise back up, especially because, here's where I'm getting into, not only are these already connected, there's the other partnerships and use cases that Forex keeps teasing along the way, and I think we may have already had some of those if the farm wasn't paused for so long. Now that it's back online and things are kicking and launching, I hope this year we're going to see some of these bigger partnerships Forex Shark keeps talking about. But one or two that he really keeps talking about is a lending type protocol where you'll be able to borrow against or with DRIP. So that's really bullish for DRIP if they pull something like that off. There's these scratch-offs coming where it's going to be essentially a digital scratch-off ticket, like a lottery ticket, and you can win really big prizes there. That's going to kind of be a use case because it's a fun little game, and you can pay for those with, say, DRIP or pigs or whatever they were going to use to pay for those various lottery tickets, and then in turn win win amounts that we can do stuff with, and then those tickets themselves become NFTs, as from what I understand, and then you can even stake those and earn more rewards. So there's a lot coming down the pipeline that involve drip, that involve pigs. There's there's all these interconnected tokens that Forex seems to be really good at connecting. Like the way he's doing the referral system here, if you have to have a certain amount of the dogs token, which right now the referral is just set to 2% because they're working on version 2 of dogs. But you'll have to have a certain amount of dogs to get referrals in the future within the piggy bank. So that helps drive the price of dogs up. And we saw that with DRIP, where he made the BREAP token required for the referrals for DRIP faucet, and to even build your team. So if you wanted to build a little team, like I'm kind of trying to do here in the piggy bank, you would have to have that BREAP token. So that drove the price of the value of BREAP up, and those who already had a lot of it or who were smart and bought some early gave them a chance to make a little bit of profit. And that's going to happen with dogs. People are going to buy dogs ahead of time if they're smart as soon as it launches, back as soon as the V2 is released, because well, for one, if they want referrals, if they want to build a team, but two, all the other people who are trying to build big teams need a lot of dogs. They want this 5% referrals. They're going to need at least 13 dogs, and that should shoot the price up a good bit. So I think there's a lot coming down the pipeline. This isn't the video to talk about all the reasons I'm bullish on DRIP and Animal Farm, but I have a lot of reasons to think that there's positivity coming down the line. And even without that, the way it stands right now, if Piggy Bank was just its own thing, I think it's got a lot of potential, and we might see some really good returns. I'm just watching this regularly right now because everyone is hopping in here during the launch because they want that bonus. I'm just seeing I've compounded these I've at least compounded all these at least once, I think, so that's why they're not as high as they would be. But I'm just seeing my truffles value slowly rise. Let's hope that continues. Let's see where these stakes are in a week and in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever these are locked at. Really exciting times. And if you decide to hop in there, again, links in the description. Hop in the Telegram chat that's linked in the description as well if you have any questions or don't understand how some of this works. But yeah, it seems kind of lucrative. I didn't want you guys to miss out on that 20%, so I wanted to make a video that, again, kind of reminded you what the piggy bank is if you weren't super familiar with it, why you would want to time lock your stake, how that 20% is going to be applied on top of this time lock bonus. That's just a pretty neat thing. I mean, 20% with a time lock only is around 7 weeks here. So if you don't want to wait 7 or 8 weeks, if you time lock at least, say, a week so that you can get a bonus, you're going to get a 20% bonus on top of that. So that's another like 8 weeks that you would have needed to be in there to have that extra bonus applied. But that being said, of course, this system is going to reward the longer stakes. The longer you're in there, the longer you're committing to not selling or harvesting, the longer you have to compound without selling or harvesting in that stake, the more bonus you're going to receive here, and then you're going to have that extra 20% tacked on if you hop in there today. So I don't know. I see a lot of potential in it. I just wanted to make you guys all aware of what was going on with that. And I will catch you on the next video. Hope you're staying safe out there. Definitely hop in the Telegram with any questions. And look forward to seeing you on the next video. Or I guess you'll see my screen, rather, but I look forward to reconnecting on the next video. You guys have a great one. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, if you're learning anything here. And if not, give me a big thumbs down, except I think YouTube might have taken that away, so you'll just have to yell at me in the comments or come to Telegram and say it to my face. All right, you guys have a great one. See you on the flip side.